Chair. Thank you.
Our last questions will come from Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, representing the 9th Congressional District of New York. Congresswoman Clarke, you have 5 minutes.
I thank you, Ashley. Let me thank our chairman and the members of the Foreign Affairs Committee for allowing me to wave on for this conversation with Ambassador Foote. Let me thank you, Ambassador Foote, for your candor in joining us today, for your service to our country and your willingness to speak out about some of the more troubling aspects of our government's response to the recent events in Haiti and the plight of Haitian migrants. The world has now seen photos of the use of extremely aggressive tactics being used at our southern border in response to an influx of Haitian refugees. And it's been already stated within this briefing, many more are en route. Many of the migrants arriving at our borders have already been living in Central and South America for years and now face the threat of repatriation, deportation to Haiti, a country they haven't been in over a decade. Ambassador Foote, what are some of the challenges on the ground that these migrants face in returning to Haiti? And as you've described it in your resignation letter, a collapsed state.
So you arrive at the airport, you know, some of them didn't even know they were flying back to Port-au-Prince. Most of them have very little money, if any. They don't have families still because the whole family's migrated, so they don't have a place to stay. They wind up only being able to go to the most devastated areas because that's the cheapest place. They don't have food, they don't have shelter, they don't have water. And I think the International Organization for Migration is giving them $100, which is something, but not going to get you very far, even in Port-au-Prince and in Haiti. And so they're sort of taking off the plane, giving $100, a pat on the back, and good luck to you. And we've already seen the already stretched infrastructure of sewage, water, trash, et cetera, in the slums is just breaking down completely because there's now too many people in some of these places.
So Ambassador, let me sort of just wrap this into some of what I've heard from some of my colleagues. The dynamic right now in the hemisphere is one of multiple pressures. When you have a collapsed state run by gangs, and you have migrants who in the most productive years of their lives put back into that environment, aren't we somewhat feeding the beast? The young men that are being sent back there have a choice. They can try to struggle to survive and feed their families or fall in with the gangs. And I'm concerned that we've created a dynamic now that is going to be self-fulfilling. Would you give us a sense of, what a gang-run Haiti means in the midst of the Western Hemisphere, where narco trafficking has been a major concern for our nation, and all the other ills that are imported? Would you give us a sense of what your thoughts are about Haiti and its vulnerability in that space?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's potentially catastrophic. Haiti sits 400 some miles off the United States coast. It has migrants now in virtually every country in the hemisphere, including a ton in the Caribbean and elsewhere. And not only is the US deporting, the Bahamas are deporting, Mexico is deporting, a bunch of other countries are deporting Haitians back to Haiti. The gangs are not trained insurgents. So when you have real security officials going in there, they will melt away much easier than the Taliban or the FARC in Colombia, because a lot of them are kids. I mean, not all of them, and they're not trained, but they need something to do. And that will be a huge challenge, is following in behind a security effort, because there needs to be some economic viability for these disenfranchised military age males, because there's just nothing to do there. So if you go back, it's not even like you have a choice. It's either you join the gangs or you don't have any income in many cases.
Just in closing quickly, what role do you believe members of the Haitian American diaspora here can and should play in assisting the effort to stabilize and rebuild Haiti? I'm from Brooklyn, New York. We have a diaspora that can absorb a significant number of these migrants. And when I hear colleagues talk about, the doors of the inn being closed, no room in the inn, I'm saying, I need more people in my district, but just for redistricting purposes. And those members could clearly fit here. But would you please respond? And I yield back after that, Mr. Chairman, and I thank you for your indulgence.
I mean, Haitians have always opened their arms for follow-on immigrants after them, be it Brooklyn or Washington Heights or Miami or Montreal. I bet in your district, you don't have enough truck drivers, you don't have enough roofers, you don't have enough service people at the hotels. And so there is demand for people. Look, I'm not sticking up for breaking immigration law by any means, but that the Haitian diaspora will welcome the immigrants with open arms. And I would like to see them continue to involve themselves in the political process in Port-au-Prince, because I think they bring a lot to the table, given the fact that they have settled in societies that aren't run by impunity-driven politicians.
Thank you.
Thank you.